Good morning to you all. I'm Veerle Coenraets and I'm an occupational therapist and an orientation and mobility instructor in the campus Centrum Ganspoel at Belgium. First of all, presenting and in English is really a challenge for me, but I'm happy to be here. So thank you for participating at this session. I would like to tell you about our SeeTHIS checklist that we have created. It's about how a visual adaptive environment invites you to move and to explore better. Lots of things. Okay. All right. A little bit about Centrum Ganspoel. What do we stand for? We help, we support, we educate children, adolescents, and also adults with a visual impairment and a visual multiple impairment. And we have also a school for children and for youngsters with special needs, and sharing knowledge and experience. That's really, really important for us. And that's also the reason that I'm here. Okay, before I take you with me in my story, I just want to ask you to look a few seconds at these pictures on the slide. What do we observe? I think we can agree that these photos are really cluttered and unorganized spaces. So there was a lot of work to be done. Okay, we all know that visual problems have an impact on all areas of life. On living, on learning, leisure, playing, on traffic participation, on household skills, social skills, and so on. And therefore, it has also a big impact on the design and the construction of spaces. And today, I will zoom in on that aspect, on the design of spaces. Okay, where do we start? It all started a few years ago at the primary school. And the purpose, the objective of that was to have more attention for the visual problems of the students, sensibilization of all the care workers, and to expand this visual knowledge. We created, as a result of that purpose, was a guideline at those 4 levels. And we also have developed a few documents, one to check the vision of the student and one to draw a balance sheet. Okay, the first level, that was our starting point, the school level. We had visual adjustments, and of uniformity has been introduced in different areas. But to realize that there have taken a lot of activities place, paintwork in the hallway, the toilets, the coffee room, much cleanup work, and do-it-yourself things like they have installed a new kitchen, they have a new printer corner, and that was all in the period of the COVID period, where there was no school, so there was much time for doing all those things. Okay, the next one, the center level. The adjustments they did at the school were then applied at the center level. Like, For example, on this picture, the corridor where the management team is housed, and they have the values of Ganspoel. You see on the wall, they were applied clear and visible, so everyone could just see them. The next level is the class level. And in the classroom, the visual adjustments were created with the goal to creating visual tranquility in all the classrooms. It was a lot of think and dream work, and they have redesigned all the classrooms. The fourth level, the student level, there we have developed 2 documents. The first document is the checklist vision document for observing the visual functioning of the student. And the second document is the student vision paper. It's a paper with a clear overview. We put first the diagnose, then the imaging, adjustments for the students, guiding tips tailored to the student, and then tips for dealing with the visual impairment for the care workers. We put everything in a clear paper. Well, I know I'm maybe saying a lot of things, but I don't have the time to show you all those papers, all those documents. So when you have questions about those things, please find me later on, and I like to tell you a lot more about it. But now I have to go on. So the story also continues, and it's through the project at school level, at the classrooms, that the SeeTHIS checklist saw his day of light. The vibe was spread out through Ganspoel, and there was other work to be done. Okay. Before we had a name for our checklist, we called it a visual-friendly learning and living environment. And the focus was in first on the units, on the residential units. Afterwards, the central buildings and the corridors were also focused on. Okay, our red wire, really red wire through all this project is uniformity. We wanted to create uniformity in Ganspoel with enough space also to set our own accents according to the needs of the residents. Our goals were to create an accessible instrument supporting the living groups in the practical implementation of all that. And we wanted to create also a guideline for parents with the explanation about room design. So they can use it also at home. Okay. Teamwork makes dream work. We can't do it alone. The SeeTHIS checklist is created by the team of the occupational therapist, but it was adjusted. It was checked with the work group vision, and the work group vision is a group where different disciplines are taking place. You have a novel. It's a difficult word, an ophthalmologist, orthopedagogue, nurses, all the occupational therapists are in the group, and also group supervisors. So we didn't do it alone. Okay, here you see the picture of the content of this SeeTHIS checklist. Today, I want to spend some time with you just by looking at the general considerations. It's about 8 elements that we constantly apply in all the different rooms. And now we're just going through one by one. Okay. The first thing, the general consideration, the first is the striving for uniformity. And here on the picture, you see the use of reference boards. It indicates the function of the space in different ways. We use those reference boards on the therapy rooms, on toilets, like you see here on the picture, but also on the storage room, on the bathroom. The rooms we think important, they get a reference board. We use a picture. We use the senso-tacto-picto system that's also developed in Ganspoel. That's the one on the left side of the yellow circle. We use reference objects like the yellow circle. We use Braille and we use global words in black script. So children can see, can feel, and know where they are. This is also an example of uniformity that we use. We use these boxes in the corridor of the school and we use them instead of the coat racks. The second general consideration are the visual landmarks. The doors or the door frames, they have the same color depending on the function of the door. So the children know what the color means and know, okay, that door I can go in and that door I can't go in. It's a baking for orientation. Other landmarks that we use are the warning stops. We use them at the beginning and at the ending on the stairways. We use also colors on the doors of the playground, so the children know where their classroom is. Like the boy on the picture you see, for him, it's really, really nice to have that indication. The next landmark are the colored ribbons, because many children, they just can't see where the goal is. So the color ribbons make it easily to find the goal. How do we furnish? How do we organize spaces? How do we store things? Clarity, visibility, visual overview is really so important. And we have to create a visually low stimulus space. While also, and I think that's really important, balancing also what the kid needs. The kids need to feel at home in the units. That's also very important. So we can make agreements and we can put everything in a checklist, but it's also so important to communicate and to take into account the wishes of the child, the parents, especially in the private places of the children. This girl, she really liked the carpet. So we just let the carpet into her room. It made her feel a little bit at home. Okay, decoration. I think we all like to decorate things and to make things beautiful. But we have just to be, it's really important that we keep it visually calm and that we avoid a visual bombardment. So we made agreements that, for example, to decorate for the seasonal decoration, we have a theme wall somewhere in the living group or somewhere in their room. There is a fixed part of the wall we use to decorate things, and the other walls, we just keep them clean. Here you see two examples. So one in the room we saw earlier. The child has a little photos on the wall, and there next to it's a room in Ganspoel. We also keep it the same way, just one wall with a few pictures on it. Okay, how do we storage and organize things in a room? We provide closed cabinets. We use uniform curtains at the windows or to shield a rack if that is necessary. We choose a clear arrangement in the different rooms, and we choose also the contrasting handles. Okay, when you don't have those closed cabinets, that's really possible. Then you can use the non-transparent boxes, like you see on the picture. And then it's also important just to have a clear arrangement. There's a picture also of a classroom. And when you have the open closets, it's also important to just put a limited number of objects inside. So you have to be sure you have enough storage space to put the other toys, for example, in. To make clear what's inside a slide or what's inside a non-transparent box, we use visual and tactile labeling. You can use braille indication, you can use brand paste, you can use colors, markings, but make sure that sobriety comes first. You have to do it in a fixed structure, and and I tell it a few times, also in a uniform way. The fourth one is the work surface, work corner. How do we organize that one? For example, like you see on the picture, the school desk, but it can also be a dining table. It can also be the bathroom. We use a visual clear demarcation. That's really important. That's necessary to do. We make use of color accents. We use a neutral color, or we prefer non-transparent surface, like you see on the picture on the right above, non-transparent tables. That's so important. You can use a surface that's inclinable, adjustable, and you just put only the things on the table that are necessary. And you make sure there's enough space between all the objects on the table. I'm just going to put a few papers out of my. That's. I'm sorry. Okay, next one. Okay, here you see a picture of an organized dining area. So we also use a fixed table arrangement and also a fixed plate arrangement. And it's a defined surface that's very clear for the children, but it still stays also tailor-made. So you have to see what the child needs, what's easy for the child. So another picture, that's the one in the bathroom, one before and one after. So you see on the left side, it's a little bit messy, but you just put little marks on the sink. So that indicates where the objects need to stand, where the place is of the objects. So everything stays in place. The fifth one is lighting, and we even looked at lighting, at the reflection, at the shades, at the curtains. Walls, we choose walls in a light shade that ensure the light is better distributed. In this way, the wall is used efficiently as a secondary light source. Sorry for my English, that was not so good. If necessary, we provide also lighting that's movable, that's adjustable, maybe also adjustable in height. Dimmable light sources are important, and we use the sunscreens, we use curtains to avoid the disturbing light. And we have also at Ganspoel a lighting consultant, so that's really nice. She helps us to give advice how the light needs to be. And here you see a picture of how you can play with the lights. This is the light we use during sensory stimulation. And that's really nice for the children, for the adolescents. Contrast, really important for children, people with visual problems. We provide good contrasting elements compared to the background. For example, the wall against the floor, door frames against the wall, handrail against the wall. We try to avoid transition between different shades of floor. For example, a dark threshold from one room to another are just best avoided. Well, I think the pictures, they say enough. Okay, and then orientation and mobility. The seventh general consideration, that's truly the compilation of all the aspects we just have discussed. Inside, it's really important to make the environment safe and inviting for the users to move around. We avoid obstacles on the guiding lines, on the walking routes. Like you see also on the picture, we built a visual, auditory, and tactile landmarks. And the use of color and contrast provides the visual support. Here you see another picture of how it should not be on the right side up, and how they rearranged that corner to make it more clear, more acceptable. Okay, outdoor, I think I don't have to talk about all those things, the guiding lines, the warning studs, the spring-loaded rubber tiles, the raised border stones. We use them all at Ganspool also. But what's really important is keep them obstacle-free. So many times there are standing things, they put stuff just on those lines. And we use them in accordance to the use in the public life. We want to make that transfer really, we make that transfer, yeah. And the guiding lines and walking routes indoors and the routes outdoors are listed and discussed also together with the teams. When we go into exercise with children, we discuss how the route should be. We don't do it just on our own as an occupational therapist, but we do it with the whole team. And the last one, but not least, that's the use of the other senses, like the fragrant plants at fixed location. Example, lavender plant on a terrace, rosemary in the kitchen. We also use the ambient sounds as a recognition and orientation point. Attention for a good acoustic. That's also really important. When you choose the cheap one, you can use the large egg cartons. They can do something. And what's also important is that the elements, the objects, that they have a pleasant feeling. When you have to follow, for example, the handrail by your hand, that it just feels pleasant. Or the walls, when you have to follow a wall, that it's nice to follow it. Okay, that's in a quick one our SeeTHIS checklist. Our journey is still continuing. Hopefully yours will start too. So at this moment today, we have bundled also in a paper the standard color and material patterns to use in the future. So all the new buildings in Ganspool will be designed in that way. So there will be uniformity all the way. Voilà, but still taking into account the wishes and the children, the adolescents, the adults, what they find nice and pleasant.